That's a great way to
cat.
start it.
Stephen Beveridge. Yeah. That was Mary right there.
Welcome to the Happy Half Hour.
The happy half hour. Half hour.
Yeah. So we do 2 half hours back to back, which makes a full happy hour. And we're happy to have you here. Because what makes us happy is to make you happy. Woo! Yeah, welcome to the Happy Half Hour.
Half hour.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Woo! Welcome into the second part of our Happy Half Hour. So for those who don't know, every Monday and usually on Wednesday or Thursday, we do 2 back-to-back half-hour episodes to make a happy hour. The first half, Steve and I talk.
Joe, he's the polymath. He knows all about the math. See, that's why.
Yeah, I got lots of maths. And, and then the second half is a chance for you as the listening audience to participate, to come in and ask a question, to share a comment, to share a story that is part of what we were talking about, or something completely different. It doesn't really matter. We're happy that you're here. But before we jump into the conversation today, Steve-O, introduce yourself. Let people know who you are. What are you about, Steve-O Hayes?
My name is Steve. All my friends call me Steve-O. Those that really know me call me Steve. Uh-oh. I'm a messenger. I have a message, and I'm here to help. It's an acronym. I'm here to bring healing. I'm here to help encourage people. I'm here to make people laugh, and I'm here to make people ponder. And we do that through Happy Life Studios. We believe a happy life is a lifestyle where you get and keep happy no matter what the circumstances are. Happiness isn't built upon circumstances. As Joe Mojo McCarthy would say, happiness is an inside job. Of course, a lot of people have said that, but Joe just was the last one that I've heard say it. So we're here to navigate, activate, and advocate your happy life. We're here to help you find what makes you happy, truly happy, not based upon circumstances. Then we're here to help you turn it on, and we're here to help advocate or walk alongside you. And that's why we started Happy Life Studios. A lot of the reasons why Joe here, McCarthy, started Mojo. So you can find us at happylife.studio, and you can find Joe at Mojo, MOJOE .studio. Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Steve-O. And I just love what you're doing. And I just want to point out that Steve-O Hayes, my friend here, has committed for the last 10 years or so himself to this mission of spreading a happy-demic. And I love that. I think that he made up that word. I have a t-shirt that says I'm a happy-preneur and I want to spread the happy-demic around. And that's what a great mission, right? If you have a purpose in life, what's a greater purpose than to bring happiness and spread happiness around? That's a beautiful, beautiful mission. I love
it. It's
that.
Contagious, right? Racism is contagious. I mean, you tend to do it when it spreads, right? So why not spread hope? Spread happy.
Spread happy, right? Spread it thick. I love it. That's great. Yeah. So I'm Mojo, MOJOE at mojo.studio. And actually, I got into the podcasting world because of the influence of my friend Steve-O here, because during COVID, I felt completely caged. I'm an extrovert, and suddenly I had no people. And I thought, what in the world? Life has ended as I know it. And then I saw Steve-O out there sharing his happy on his platforms. And so I just called him, and I hadn't talked to him since college. I said, Steve-O, what are you doing and how do I do it? And he says, let me walk you through it. So over a weekend, he shared all of the inside jobs that he'd learned, everything he'd learned over the last many years, and taught me how to shortcut his learning curve and jump right into the podcasting world. And since then, been going 100 miles an hour. And
you have, Joe. You've been tearing it up, man. You are doing such a fantastic job. You surpassed me, man. I mean, you work it hard because you got a message too. And we need more Joes out there. I've helped several people start podcasts for that very same reason. We can curse the darkness all we want. We can talk about how negative this is and that is, or we can just turn the light on and we can just do the opposite and bring hope, happy, whatever the case may be. But yeah. And you know what, in some ways, it's what we talked about last. The reason why I was able to do that with you is because someone took me, they were a blue chipper in a Fortune 10 company that said, Steve, why aren't you online? And I said, I've been trying to get online. I don't know how to do it. I want to do this podcast, but all everyone would do is, well, just here, check out this video on it. I'm a social worker, right? Yeah. I like to work with people, in other words. And so what he said was, okay, then you come on down. And he flew me down. He took 2 weeks off of work, and we did nothing but sit in his house, in his studio, and he told me how to do podcasts. He did them with me. He helped me. He walked, and then he sent me home and said, "This is all you do." And so when you called and said, "Can you help me?" I was like, so he made me a governor, which is what we talked about last, and I made you a governor. And and we talked about that in the last half hour, which is talking about it came off a joke. I don't know if we have to really
Let's
tell
tell a joke again. It's why not?
Okay, this governor is in this parade with his wife, and halfway through the parade, he sees one of his wife's ex-boyfriends who works at a gas station. So he leans over and says to her, aren't you glad you married me? Because now you're a governor's wife. If you were to marry him, you'd be a wife of a gas station worker." And she looked back at him and said, "Oh no." She says, "If I would have married him, he'd be the governor." Talking about the whole aspect of having that kind of mentality of, instead of I'm just going to go through life. No, you change the world by being yourself. And so we talked about helping someone become governor, and it not necessarily in politics, because we want it to be happy, and politics is a lot of things but that right now, right, Joe? But talk about helping somebody govern their life well, govern their mentality well, govern their attitude well, and that's what that's what Smiley, his name is Smiley. I started Happy Life Studios at Smiley Studios.
I love that.
But that's what James Smiley did for me. That's what I was able to do for Joe. I helped Joe govern the podcasting world, get his voice, and now he's gone way beyond what I ever dreamed of doing. And we have another governor in here with us too as well. In fact, that's why she's here, because she loves to help. Mary is a governor. Mary loves to help people. We had her on our podcast.
Awesome Mary.
Yeah, awesome Mary. And she came up with that word. Maybe you should tell us how you got that name, because I wish every one of us had that before our name. AWSM Mary. I think we all need to be reminded that we are awesome.
Absolutely.
We really are. Whether we believe it or not, we really are. You're an amazing human being. And I'm not just talking to Mary now. I'm talking to you who's listening to this, whether it's live or post live. You are awesome. You need to hear that. Mary, tell us where you got that name. Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, because if I don't ask you that question, I know Joe's going to ask you that question. So I'll just save him the effort. But tell us what makes you awesome. Why did you put that awesome? I'm asking you a bunch of questions, so I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to let you take it from here.
Actually, I really don't know it. And I remember thinking awesome, and then I spelled it differently. I took the vowels off, so it's AWSM, and a lot of people think that it's ASMR or whatever, but you just spell it out or sound it out, and it's awesome, Mary. I really don't know. And I remember thinking, gosh, that's a little pretentious, but I said, it's a cool name. I'll just go with it. And I love it. I remember somebody said, you should coin that name. You should coin Awesome Mary, because and it's true. I don't ever see anybody with that AWSM. And so I don't really know, but it served me well, and I love it. And people remember me with this name.
So Mary,
I love it.
But we remember you because not just because of your name, because you are awesome, Mary. You are, Joe, take it from here. Mary you've known Mary a little bit longer than me, but Mary, from the first time I met her, Mary's been trying to find ways to help me out. Yeah. In fact, she's the one on my TikTok live right now, just throwing all the hearts up to get more action too. That's what Mary does. Joe, how do you know Mary? What makes her so awesome to you? What makes her a governor in your book?
So, and I want to hear Mary's take on this as well. And Mary was here on our previous half an hour where we talked about what does this mean to help someone govern, like to help to become all that they can be. And just before we went live, Mary was talking about that's what I do, and she does really well. So, like, I was on another show earlier in this year called The Now Show. Mary shows up in the first episode and had no position, no role, and she's filling the chat she's taking notes, she's sharing links, she's just like doing everything she can without anybody asking anything and everything she can to support the show. It's not her show. She's not on the air. She's just there to say, hey, this is good, and I want everybody to know about it, and I'm going to do whatever I can to help, which is Steve-O's acronym, help. So, Mary, I just want to commend you for I've said to you before, your generous heart. Your heart is always in giving mode, which some people have a hard time with that. but I think you're tapped into the secret of living. The secret of living is giving, according to Tony Robbins, and according to the mentor that Steve and I both have, Rick Olson, who you met on the Now Show as well. So welcome, Mary, and tell us a little bit about the last show that you were in, that you were listening to. How did that land with you, and what did that spark inside of you?
Yeah. Okay. So let me go back a little bit. Steve had the podcast where he did this, where you told the same joke about the lady who said, no, I would be the governor. I mean, you would be the governor, or no, he would be. Sorry, the gas attendant would be the governor.
Somebody would be a governor.
Someone's going to be a governor. Hello, governor. Will someone just be the governor?
Anybody.
Governor. But the quote that came to my mind was, behind a successful man, there is a strong woman.
That's good, because I always thought it was behind a successful man, behind every man, there's a woman shaking her head. That's what I thought it was. But what did you say it was again?
And her finger.
Shaking her finger.
Too.
And
I like your version more.
It's so funny because my husband, when I first met him, he was basically living in his van. He was a gigster. He would just do gigs from bar to bar and whatever. And by the time he passed away, unfortunately, he was working for the Department of Defense. He was making like 6 figures. And I don't want to pat myself on the back, but when he married him, I said, yes, but you need to get a real job. So I didn't tell him, you have to stop playing music, whatever. That's who he was, But, and I think it was just me believing in him. I don't think he ever thought about that. I think it was me believing in him. You can do this, you can support your family and whatever. But
so let me jump in here, Mary. I don't want people to miss how important it is what you just said.
Yeah.
By you believing in him, he became everything that was possible for him to become, right? And this gets lost in translation, I think, is that my or your belief in someone else can actually help them to believe for that to be true.
Yeah.
Right? It's I'll just speak from my own experience. Oftentimes I don't see my own potential. I don't see the gifts, talents, and abilities because I'm so familiar with them. I kind of take them for granted. And someone like Mary or Steve, both of you in my life, have said to me so many times, Joe, do you realize that the gifts and talents and abilities that you have are extraordinary? And I'm like, why do you say that? I don't get it. And they say, well, because I can see it from my vantage point. And Mary, you're great at this, at seeing somebody and seeing not just who they are, but the potential that they have, and then going out of your way to say, how can I assist you to flourish, right? To become more of who you are.
Yeah. That's how I'm built. I don't know. It comes to me super easy. People can tell me, oh, I love this. I like doing this, and the other. And I go, oh, you could be this. And I see their potential like immediately. Mojo, I'm going to read this to you because somebody posted this on your wall on X today, and I want you to hear this. Well, it's super long.
It made me cry.
But it says, among the more consistently upbeat and high-spirited musicians I've met here on this app, Mojo's enthusiasm for music and lust for life carries an infectious positive energy that touch all on his orbit. From his life of the party vibes to his cheerful support of his fellow singers and musicians, his is a welcome soul in these weather times. I totally see that about you. And I've always said that about you. It's like, to me, you're bigger than life. You are always super happy. You encourage people. I don't think I've ever seen you down ever. And so we need more people like you. We need more people like you. And you, Steve-O, I loved, since the day I met you, I love when you said, I am a happypreneur. Is that how you say that?
Yeah.
I love that word because I've been an entrepreneur since I was 8 years old. And when you said that, I was like, oh, I love that word. I really do. And you live up to it. You definitely live up to that.
Thank you very much.
Oh my God.
We told you she's a governor. Did you hear? We asked her opinion and she immediately flipped it to talk about us. and
Yes,
how great
exactly.
we are.
Right?
That's what makes her awesome. It really does. You're probably like, that's why you have her on. No wonder. But seriously, we do need people that we need to have people like that on our life regularly. Forget the social media, just on our life, period. We need to find people that we're better people around, that breathe life into us just by them. Tomorrow I'm going to be spending all day with my bro down in and he's just a lot like Mojo, and we're going to spend all day at Buffalo Wild Wings or wherever it is that we go, and we don't even have to talk about anything. We just hang out with each other, and it's important that we find people like that because there's so much out there today to tear us down. There's so much for us to believe, and we have Velcro and we have Teflon. You throw something at Teflon, it doesn't stick. You throw something at Velcro, everything sticks. Even the things you didn't throw at it, you find Velcro is it just always has all this stuff
It's
on it.
messy.
Okay. And sometimes, when we feel like a failure, well, that's because it's Velcro in our life, right? And so it's not hard when you got Velcro to walk around and pick up stuff that you're like, why do I feel this way? Well, because it's Velcro. And if you take Velcro, from what I understand, Velcro and Teflon are both basically plastic, right? I mean, if you take Velcro and you put it to the heat, you put it to the pressure, it becomes like Teflon and things don't stick anymore. So sometimes, Joe, a friend that we have, a common friend that I met through you, um, uh, she was talking about how have you thanked the people that took advantage of you, or have you thanked the people that have treated you this way? Brown,
Oh, Brene Brown. Brene Brown.
Brene. No, not
Oh,
Brene. No, no,
Kristen.
no, no.
Kristen Brown. Yes. Yes.
Kristen. How could I not remember Kristen? Kristen rocks it, but she's like, because these people treated you this way, it caused this and it caused this. It helped you to realize stuff. And sometimes when someone throws something at us and it sticks, to me, it's a way of saying, wait a minute, Steve, why did that bother you? We had a girl come up to us after one of our high school
Yes, right.
assemblies and just said, this guy called me it was a pretty bad word. And and she really, what she wanted was us, I think, to report the kid to the authorities, whatever. But my friend said, is it true? And she got all offended, like, what do you mean, is it true? No, it's not true. He says, well, you must think it is. No, I don't think it is. He said, well, then why did it bother you? And at one time, sometimes when we do our school assembly, we do something like this, where we'll say, come up here, and I'll grab a kid and say, call me a big, mangy, dirty cat, right? And they do it, right? I'm not going to go home. We tell them we're not going to go home. And I look in the mirror and go, are those whiskers? Are this? I mean, we don't, because we know we're not a mangy, hairy cat. We know that, okay? But then we tell them, now tell me I'm a loser. Tell me I'm a failure. Now that might stick. You know why? Velcro. And I think that we need to thank the
Wow.
people because when someone cuts us down and we need to go, why did I get a rise out of that? Why did that bother me?
Yes.
Let's figure out what that Velcro is so that we can fix it, not so we can make them not do that to us. When we fix the Velcro, no matter what they throw at, it won't stick anymore. What are your thoughts?
Wow.
I love that.
Ooh, yeah. So the thought that comes to mind to me, Steve, and Mary and I have actually talked about this at length, is I'm in the process of trying to become what I call unoffendable. Unoffendable. So that would be Teflon. But it's a process, right? And there are many times, so I just want to point out, as with many things in life, it's not an either or. There are times when I'm unoffendable. You can say anything you want about me. In fact, here's a great example. I was in a space on X. It was a singing space. I'd never been there before. I was just kind of like learning my way. And they said, hey, you want to share a song? I said, sure. I start singing my song, and out of the blue, somebody else opens their mic and they're yelling during my song, shut the F up. And they're using the word. And I was like, okay. I keep singing. And I'm like, oh, that was weird, right? 10 seconds later, shut the up. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is a challenge. Now I could have very easily, I could have crumbled. I could have stopped. I could have fought back. And I just thought, you know what? I'm going to keep singing. I just going to see if I can handle this. So I sang, I think it was Elton John's Crocodile Rock. And as I was singing, about every 4 phrases, shut the fuck up, with great enthusiasm, with great heat. Like, this guy was angry. And by the end, I was laughing. And I was laughing so hard. And so the hosts of the space, they were like, I'm so sorry. I don't know why this guy's doing this. He's on a binge. He's on a bender. He must be on drugs. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I couldn't meet him. And I said, I got to tell you, that I took it as a challenge, not to my character, but a challenge to say, can I deflect this without responding to it, right?
Wow.
And here's the best part about the whole story, is that guy whose name is, his online name is Theta, has become my friend. And he very well could have become my enemy. And I got to tell you, one of the most challenging teachings I've ever heard from any teaching of anybody ever was Jesus, who said, love your enemies. I'm like, you've got to be kidding. Why in the world do I love my enemies? And what Jesus knows, and what I'm learning the hard way, is that loving your enemies can actually transform them into friends. Because this guy, he didn't know me, but he was doing his best to derail my song and derail my spirit. And I could have gotten so angry and so offended and so defensive, and I could have fought back, and we never, ever would have been friends. We would have been mortal enemies. And I laughed it off, and I thought, this guy's having a bad day. It's about him. It's not about me. I sang my song, and now we laugh about that incident. It actually has become the basis of our friendship. And I got to tell you, I didn't see that coming. Now, there are plenty of times when I am Velcro and the things stick, and I want to fight back, and I just, I'm going to defend myself. But I got to tell you, the outcomes are so different when I can learn to be unoffendable. Like, it's not about me. That's about you. Okay, I'm sorry you're having a hard day. It's a lifelong process. I know it's a lifelong process, but that's where my mind went when you were talking about this.
You helped make him a governor simply by not quitting, just by keep on seeing and ignoring his cut downs and not allowing it to affect you, affected him. That's just so cool. It's not that hard to help make somebody a governor or become the governor their lives a little bit better. It's not hard to do that. For Joe, he just didn't quit when they cut him down. Wow, man, there's something there.
Mary, what comes to mind?
I think sometimes, like, when people get mad at you, and I'm not. I think that guy was just a troll. But when people get mad at you, you can actually change their whole, demeanor by just being nice to them, and then you'll see they go, "I'm so sorry, I was so rude to you." I've seen that over and over again. When they're rude to you and they're mean and you're just being nice, and they go, "Hey, I'm sorry, I was being so rude to you." And I love that. And to the point that you said earlier, Steve, that if something offends us, like, let's look inside, like,
there you
where
go.
is
Say
that?
that again,
Where does
Mary.
that come
Say
from?
that again.
Yeah, when something offends us, let's look inside and say, why is it offending me? Where is that coming from? Where did that start? If it doesn't really pertain to us, somebody calls us a name or whatever. Yeah. And I love that. I think I'm going to do that more often. I'm going through a journey right now. I just learned about shadow work or whatever. And I'm just going through that journey right now, like looking what that is. And it's just looking at characteristics in my person that are hiding in the shadows, bringing them up to light so that they don't bother me anymore. And so, so I like that. I like that if something offends me, put light into it and then, explore it a little bit better.
And it takes work, but when we do that work, we can be happy or hopeful despite we don't have to rely upon circumstances for us to feel better, for us to govern our lives better. When we get to that point, when the Velcro turns to Teflon, we become unoffendable, Joe. And unoffendable, that's like a superpower right there. I mean, if you can't be offended, and Joe, you're one of the least offended people I've ever found. In fact, I used to really think that a lot of things that you said, you were going, what's the word I'm looking for? I couldn't even think of Kristen's name earlier either. Well, you were
toxic positivity.
Or no, but when you're playing
passive aggressive.
Opposite, passive aggressive, right? And I thought you're trying to be passive aggressive right now, what you're saying, because there's no way you can't be offended by this, or what you're saying is really. And I've come to find out after I talked to you a while, I'm like, no, that's just Joe.
Yeah. That's who he is.
Joe. He's unoffendable. Now he does get offended. We all do, right? But Joe just doesn't. There's a term about a guy that's in the Bible, and it said he had no form nor guile about him. And guile is kind of like this. He had no. He is who he is. And when we become unoffendable, boy, we enjoy life a lot more, don't we? Man, we just a lot happier. The people around us are a lot happier. When we become unoffendable, what I'm saying is it's worth the work. There's no doubt about it.
100%. Yeah. I often say that life is oftentimes trade-off. It's a choice. Do I want short-term pleasure at the expense of my long-term well-being? Or am I willing to do the short-term work, which Mary was just talking about right now? She's digging into the shadows of her life where things have been hidden, and she hasn't brought those. I call them slivers in my heart, and so this is my own experience, right? When I got really wounded when I was in my teens, I buried it deep in my heart, and I actually convinced myself, "Oh, it didn't bother me. I'm fine. I'm unoffendable." Well, the truth was there was a wound there that never been treated. So every time somebody touched that wound, I was like, "Ow, ow, yeah, I'm gonna fight back and defend myself," right? I'm like, "Well, why after all these years, why am I still so sensitive?" It's because I never treated the wound, right? I had to get the sliver out of my heart and out into the light through therapy, through the help of friends, a lot of prayer, faith, etc. Long story. But when I finally stopped convincing myself that it had no effect on me and that I'm fine, and say, you know what, I need help. I'm damaged. I'm damaged way down deep inside. I got to bring this out to examine it, to do the work, to bring healing, so that what hurts at first, right? I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to even admit that even happened. But when I brought it out into the light and got the work, which was short-term pain, talk about long-term gain. Oh my gosh, that's where my unoffendableness begins. Is that, oh my gosh, I don't care what you say, what you do. It's not me. That's all about you, and I'm okay with that, right? I'm okay with who I am.
Yeah, I love it. It's the beach ball syndrome. It's a beach ball
Say
syndrome.
That. What do you mean by that, Steve?
Yeah.
Well, you have an issue like that. It's like a beach ball. And so let's say you're in the ocean, you're in the pool, you can take that beach ball and you can hide it under the water. Nobody knows it's there. It isn't affecting anybody, but you're fighting like crazy to try to keep it under there. But it's a beach ball. You can handle it. Well, the problem is something else happens. It's often related even to that one. And after a while, you have all these beach balls and you're trying to have fun on the outside. You're trying to let everyone know that everything goes okay, but you're fighting like crazy inside to keep all these beach balls submerged so nobody else can see them.
Yeah.
The problem is when one comes up, they all come up.
Yeah.
At that point, we are overwhelmed mentally. We don't know. That's when the anxiety attack happens. That's when the panic attacks happen. That's when the anger happens. That's when it all just blows up. It's just better to take a beach ball and say, that's what you did, Joe. You said this bothered me. And here, let's deal with this one beach ball. Because if you don't deal with it, you're going to deal with it. It's going to come up one way or the other. And people that bury that stuff usually end up hurting other people. Hurt people, you know. And when we try to say it's only affecting me, no, it's not. Sooner or later, it's going to affect somebody else, even if it's just in the attitude that it causes us, you know, to have.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that, gosh, I was going to say something. Dang. I think also like perception. You guys were talking a lot about perception in the show. And, you know, we could have, I'm the kind of person that if somebody doesn't agree with me, I kind of get a little offended. And so I took that to heart when you guys were talking about that, because I need to learn that people have different perceptions and they don't all have to be the same as me.
Yeah.
You know, and so that is also part of my work, my inner work and things like that. I made it this far in my life, always repeating the same patterns over and over again, and it's not doing me any good. You know, I want to change that pattern in my life, and that's why I'm doing the work that I'm doing right now. And I love what I've learned even in the last couple of days when I started. And so, yeah, I mean, where are we going with this?
Well, let me ask you a question. So, you're such a supportive, encouraging, helping personality. So, imagine someone in the audience who is thinking, "Yeah, that sounds good, but I just don't know. Is it worth it?" Right? What would you say to someone who's like on the edge, on the decision-making tree? Like, should I really work on my stuff or no?
You know, Mojo, it's so personal to every person, you know. Like I didn't think that I needed to work on the one situation that I'm working on, because as you, I went through life thinking, oh, you know what? God healed me. I never have to go dig deep into that situation in my life. And came to find out, it is the root of, why I continue to do the same thing over and over again, and it's not serving me well. And it wasn't until I thought, gosh, and I think God showed me. And I think, not to put Christianity down or anything, but a lot of Christians think that, oh, you just lift it to God and you're done. You're done. Absolutely not. Trust me when I tell you that number one person that I just like, hey, I just lift it up to God and, and forget it. Well, I'm finding out that that's not the case for me
Well,
personally. So
oftentimes the reason why they're saying that is they're like, I don't want to deal with your issue. Just give it to God. It's a way of patting her on the back and say, you're making me uncomfortable. Now you just go deal with God versus tell me that story. Let me hear what you have to say. Let me sit in your Joe. What word was it? There's a word that means to sit in somebody's pain with them to actually.
Well, I don't know if this is the word you're after, Steve, but the word compassion means to suffer with. Compassion, to suffer with. And most time people's like, oh, are you a compassionate person? Oh yeah, of course. Well, that you're willing to suffer, to sit with someone suffering. In fact, Simon Sinek, who I listen to often, he says, you know what true friendship is? It's when you see someone in quicksand, you offer them a tree branch or rope and they say, I'm not ready to get out. And so instead of walking away or just walk or saying, get out, get out, get out, you jump in. You say, you know what? Yep, sometimes you just need to wallow in the mud for a while. And I don't want you to wallow alone. So I'm going to wallow with you. It's not good for me, but it's good for you. And because it's good for you, it is good for me. Right.
What gives me the image, and I think I read something that I got this from, but it gives me the image of when a person's been in a dark room for a long time, they've been in darkness for a long time, they've been in pain, they've been in agony, they've been in anger, they've been whatever, but they've been in a dark place for a long time. Some people just love to come in. Well, like you said, Mary, some people are like, just
or
give it to
get
God,
over it.
flip the light switch on, and get right. And sometimes before you flip the light switch, you can't, when you've been in the dark like that, you just can't flip the light switch. No wonder they get mad. Like, man, that's the worst thing when you're, sometimes the best thing to do before you can turn the light switch on is to go sit in the dark with them. And then you can ask them, you ready for the light?
Even I would get mad at people who've gone through things that I've been through, and then they wouldn't get over it. And I go, get over it. I got over it. You can get over it,
And sometimes you just need to sit in the darkness with them. Like Joe said, sit in the mud with them and let them know I'm here.
And just to say, how highly personalized that journey is, as Mary pointed out, is that whatever you've gone through, so I'm talking to you who are listening right now, whatever you've gone through, that is your highly personalized journey. And getting through it, not getting out of it, but getting through it and then getting out of it is a highly personalized journey as well. That doesn't mean you have to be alone. You can have friends who will walk through that with you, but they can't walk through it for you. They can only walk through it with you. And I think of, the Lord of the Rings, Frodo and Sam. Sam didn't have any more information, knowledge, experience, expertise, or power than Frodo did. But he said, hey, I'm scared too, but let's just stick together. Let's see what we can do. Let's do it together. And had an extraordinary journey. And so I just want to invite each one of you to be the friend that you need. As Steve-O says, if you want to make somebody happy, if you want to be happy, make somebody happy. And if you want to have a friend like that, be that friend. Right? It's just amazing how that quote I believe it's from Gandhi, be the light you want to see in the world. Be the friend you want to have in the world. Be the love you want to feel in the world.
Because truth is,
it starts with you.
There's a lot of people in these tough situations. You already have the answer. You already know the answer. You don't need someone else to tell you the answer. You need someone to sit next to you, right?
And I want to say one last thing before you start singing, Mojo, is you will know when it's time for you to go through that journey. I mean, don't force it. For me, I just knew, and I saw the signs, and I was like, okay, this is the time. This is time for me to go through that journey and work it, get through it. And I got friends that.
If you try going through it, you're right. If you try going through it before you're ready for it, it's probably not going to work. You've got to be ready for it because that's some deep stuff. To work on your stuff, it takes effort, and you have to have the strength and the energy to be able to do that. And so timing is really important. 100%.
Thank you guys. I love having you guys in my life, and thank you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate the positivity that you bring to my life. So thank you so much.
Thanks for making us governors, Mary.
Yeah, I love that. In fact, this last idea came to mind is that in the Lord of the Rings as well. They have the Fellowship of the Ring. All these people have different strengths, different powers, different. But some people say it's the Fellowship of the Suffer. Fellowship of the Suffer Ring, right? We all do suffer. We have different people that have different strengths, talents, abilities, experience that at different times in our life, we need to be with us again, just so that we can make it through the suffer ring together.
I love that. That's so cool. Thank you, Morgan.
Answers are easy. You can search them, you can find them, you can give from your own. But to sit with somebody in suffering, that's the real deal. That's the real deal. That's not as easy, but it's much more potent. It's much more powerful. It's much more, and that's what makes people governors, is when we sit in the darkness with them and let them struggle.
That's right. Yeah, so that you can govern people, which that means you're the boss of them.
They govern themselves.
Or you can empower people to become the boss. Yeah, right. All right, because thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Wednesday or Thursday this week for more of the Happy Half Hour. It goes deep sometimes, but our purpose is to help you navigate, activate, and advocate your happiness. Because I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Peace out, my friends, and
peace in.
Peace in. All right.